Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm here to discuss a topic about basic principle of ANOVA. The introduction of ANOVA is ANOVA stands for Analysis of Variance. It is a statistical method used to compare means between two or more groups. ANOVA helps determine if there is a significant difference among the means of the group. Assumptions of ANOVA. ANOVA assumes that the populations being compared are normally distributed. It also assumes that the variance within each group are equal. The observations within each group are assumed to be independent of each other. One-way ANOVA. One-way ANOVA is used when there is only one independent variable with more than two levels. It compares the means of the groups to determine if there is a significant difference. It calculates the F statistic at p value to make this determination. Two-way ANOVA. Two-way ANOVA is used when there are two independent variables with more than two equal each. It examines the main effects of each factor and their interaction effect. It helps determine if there is a significant difference among the groups based on the factors. Null and alternative hypothesis. The null hypothesis is ANOVA assumes that there is no significant difference among the means of the groups. The alternative hypothesis assumes that there is a significant difference among the means of the group. The goal of ANOVA is to reject the null hypothesis in favor of the alternative hypothesis. Sum of squares. ANOVA decomposes the total variation in the data into different components. The sum of squares measures the variation within and between the groups. The sum of squares within groups represents the variation within each group, and the sum of squares between groups represents the variation among the groups. Mean squares. Mean squares are obtained by dividing the sum of squares by the degree of freedom. The mean squares within groups measures the average variation within each group. The mean squares between groups measures the average variation among the groups. S statistic. The S statistics is calculated by dividing the mean squares between groups by the mean squares within groups. It measures the ratio of the explained variation to the unexplained variation. A larger F statistic indicates a greater difference among the means of group. Degree of freedom. Degree of freedom represent the number of independent pieces of information available for estimating the population parameters. In ANOVA, there are two types of degrees of freedom between groups and degrees of freedom within groups. Degree of freedom between groups is equals to number of group minus 1, and degree of freedom within groups is equals to total number of observation minus number of groups. Calculating p-value. The p-value is the probability of obtaining results as extreme as the observed results, assuming the null hypothesis is true. It is calculated using the F distribution and the F statistic. If the p-value is less than the chosen significance level, the null hypothesis is rejected. Interpreting the results. If the p-value is less than the significance level, we conclude that there is a significant difference among the means of the groups. We cannot determine which specific group means are different from each other with ANOVA alone. Post hoc test can be conducted to make pairwise comparisons. Assumptions check. Before conducting ANOVA, it is important to check the assumptions. Assumptions include normality of data, equal variance, and independence of observations. If observations are violated, alternative non-parametric tests can be used. Limitations of ANOVA. ANOVA assumes that the group being compared are independent of each other. It is sensitive to outliers and violent violations of normality and equal variation assumptions. ANOVA does not provide information about the direction or nature of the differences. Conclusion. ANOVA is a powerful statistical method for comparing means among multiple groups. It helps identify significant differences and determine the factors contributing to those differences. Understanding the basic principle of ANOVA is essential for conducting and interpreting research. Thank you for watching my video. Please like, share and subscribe.